So, hello again. So, discussion tayo ulit. Fast track na tayo. So, ito, natapos tayo discussion natin sa Title 6. Let's proceed to Title 7, which talks about stocks and stockholders. Now, Section 59. Section 59 provides for the subscription contract. So, ano ba tong subscription contract? So, alam ko may idea na kayo dito kasi di ba sa Accounting for Partnership Incorporation Show, meron kayo yung mga subscriber ng capital, etc. etc. So, ang subscription contract according kay Section 59 is any contract for the acquisition of an issued stock in an existing corporation or a corporation is still to be formed shall be deemed as a subscription. So, yun din yung subscription contract. Within the meaning of this title, notwithstanding the fact that the parties refer to it as purchase or some other contract. So, yan si subscription contract. Without going to the discussion, obvious na obvious anong meaning niya. Na it only applies to a contract for the acquisition of an issued stock in an existing corporation or a corporation na still to be formed. So, yan lang yung subscription. Yung nyo, unissued. Take note of that. Diyan lang nag-a-apply si subscription contract sa mga unissued. Kasi once it is issued, any further disposition of that or acquisition, hindi na siya matitreat as subscription. Because subscription contract only applies to unissued stocks. Okay? So, how participation in a corporation acquired? Pag stock corporation, a person may become a shareholder by subscription contract with an existing corporation for the acquisition of the unissued share. O, tandaan nyo, ang unissued share, ulit-ulitin natin to. Sa subscription lang yan na-apply. Another is by purchase from the corporation of its treasury shares. Take note, ang treasury shares, di ba? Na-issue na yun once, binawi lang ulit, nire-purchase lang ulit ng corporation. Yan yung nature niya. Or by transfer from a previous stockholder of the outstanding shares or existing subscription to shares. A corporator in a stock corporation must be a stockholder. Yung honorary membership, bawal yan. Pagdating sa mga non-stock corporation, yung membership dyan is acquired by contract with the corporation. The modes of entering into which may vary according to the charter and bylaws of the particular corporation. So kasi dito, sa stock corporation, obviously, it talks about having stocks which the shareholder must hold or must own. Sa non-stock corporation, membership lang, di ba? Let's go to section 60. Kasi it talks about pre-incorporation subscription. Kasi as we said here, dalawa meron tayo when it comes to subscription contract. Acquisition of an issued share or an issued stock in an existing corporation, yan yung una. Yung pangalawa is the acquisition from a corporation yet to be formed, still to be formed. So itong section 60, yan yung pag-usapan niya. Pre-incorporation subscription, a corporation that is still to be formed kung saan nagkaroon na ng subscription. Sabi dito, a subscription of shares in a corporation still to be formed shall be irrevocable daw for a period of at least 6 months from the date of subscription. So kapag January 15 ka nag-subscribe sa corporation still to be formed, 6 months, hindi mo pwedeng bawiin yan. So February 15, March 15, April, May, June, July 15. So until July 15, hindi mo pwedeng i-revoke yung subscription mo. O kasi from the date of subscription. Unless, may unless tayo dito, all of the other subscriber consent to the revocation. So, pag binigyan ka nilang consent, o sige, okay lang, goods lang, na mag-revoke ka, okay, you can do so. Or the corporation fails to incorporate within the same period, ibig sabihin within the 6 months, or within a longer period stipulated in the contract of subscription. Yan. Yan yung mga mga steps to consider when it comes to the revocation ng iyong subscription contract. 6 months disposition, unless consent ng other subscriber, unless the corporation fails to incorporate within the same period, or within a longer period stipulated sa contract of subscription. So may tayo? May 3 exceptions tayo. Unless nag-consent ang subscriber, unless yung corporation fails to incorporate within the same period, ibig sabihin within 6 months, or within a longer period stipulated sa contract ng subscription. So, no pre-incorporation subscription may be revoked after the articles of incorporation is submitted to the commission. So, kahit na, let's say, kahit na lumampas ka ng 6 months, nasa 8 month ka na, so pwede ka nang mag-i-revoke. Pero by that time, nag-submit na ng articles of incorporation sa Securities Exchange Commission, kahit lumampas ka na 6 months, or sa longer period dito, basta nakasubmit na, yun ang tandaan nyo. Habang hawak-hawak mo pa yan, habang nasusubscription ka pa, habang hindi ka pa nag-i-revoke, hindi mo pa nire-revoke, basta nasubmit na yan ang Articles of Incorporation sa Securities Exchange Commission, wala ka ng takas, panindigan mo na yan. So, revocability of pre-incorporation subscription contract. Conditions, Section 60 prescribes for the conditions paano ma-revoke yung pre-incorporation subscription, either by the subscriber or the corporation. Kasi sila yung party dito eh. Dalawang party tayo meron dito, si subscriber and si corporation. Na sir, kung dalawang party lang yan, bakit kailangan pa ng consent ng other subscriber dito? Kasi the third party sila na affected. So, since they are third party na affected, kailangan ng consent nila. Later din, sa later slides, makikita nyo bakit kailangan ng consent ng other subscribers. So, kailan irrevocable? When the subscription contract is revocable for a period of at least 6 months from the date of subscription, notwithstanding any agreement to the contrary, except in 2 instances mentioned. So, 2 instances pa rin. Ito. In any case, it cannot be revoked after the submission of the Articles of Incorporation to the Commission, although beyond the 6-month period. So, kahit lumampas ka na sa period ng ng irrevocation, as long as, gaya na sabi natin, sinubmit na yung Articles of Incorporation sa Securities Exchange Commission, wala ka ng takas. Reason for irrevocability. Ito yon. The irrevocability of the pre-incorporation subscription contract prevents a subscriber from speculating on the stock of a proposed corporation. So, ano meaning yan? Speculating on the stock. Meaning, like for example, in a scenario kung saan wala tong irrevocability limitation or prohibition, di ba? Pag wala yan, ikaw, on your own, titingnan mo, magsusubscribe ka. Tapos titingnan mo, o i-speculate mo, kumbaga, na tataas ba yung value ng subscription mo pag nag-incorporate na to? O baka bababa yung value ng subscription mo, ng future shares mo. So, yan. Parang ganyan yung stock market. Bibili ka ngayon, gambling na bukas tataas yan, or sa future tataas yan, or bababa. Parang ganun rin yung dito. Magsusubscribe ka with the intention na titingnan mo kung bababa ba yan or tataas yung value ng shares ng corporation. Kaya diyan tinanggal yung irrevocability. Kaya nandyan yung irrevocability to prevent this speculation. Kasi let's say, okay, wala tayong irrevocability prohibition dyan. Nag-subscribe ka. Tapos nakita mo, parang dehado dito yung corporation. Parang bababa dito yun. Parang hindi maganda mag-invest sa corporation na to. So with that, mag-revoke ka. O, di ba? Pero pag nakita mo maganda, hindi ka magre-revoke, di ba? Now what if hindi maganda yung takbo ng corporation, yung pag-incorporate sa kanya, yung process, kasi may mga hurdles, di magre-revoke ka, di ba? So kaya ang problema dun sa pagre-revoke ka, kawawa yung iba. Kasi nag-promise ka na i-purchase mo yung stocks ng corporation sa subscription mo. So ang corporation man kailangan man ng capital. Saan kukuha yan ng capital? Isa sa mga source niyan is yung stock investments ng mga tao, ng mga shareholders. Dehado yung iba. Affected sila kasi binawi mo yung subscription mo. Ni-revoke mo. Kaya tinanggal yan to prevent the speculation. Furthermore, it is to the interest of each subscriber that the others, ito na yung sasabi natin, kailangan ng consent. Furthermore, it is to the interest of each subscriber that the others are bound by their subscription and the new corporation should have as operating capital. Kasi dyan kukuha eh. Isa yun sa mga source of capital ng corporation. Yung investment na ginawa ng mga shareholders. Enforceable subscription. Thus, the rule protects the corporation from financially responsible subscriber. Para hindi dehado yung corporation, hindi dehado yung mga inosenteng subscriber. Walang bawian. Parang ganon. Effects of filing the articles of incorporation. The subscriber is not bound indefinitely for the period of irrevocability is limited. Given in dito 6 months, consent, unless all the consent fails to incorporate or within a longer period stated. Pero, after the submission ng articles of incorporation sa commission, pre-incorporation subscription may no longer revoke although the period of 6 months has already elapsed. So, kahit lumampas ka na 6 months, basta hawak-hawak mo pa rin subscription mo. Then, nagsubmit na ng AOI sa commission. Wala ka ng takas, kapatid. Now, upon incorporation ng corporation, both the incorporators, yung mga signatories sa articles of incorporation, and subscriber automatically become shareholders. The subscription, which until that time was merely an offer, becomes a binding contract. Yun. Upon which the subscriber cannot withdraw, walang bawian, except in the case of fraud or other matters which may operate to discharge him from liability on his subscription. Like for example, niloko siya ng mga incorporators na ganito yung situation, ganito yung benefits na makuha niya, yun pala hindi totoo. Kasi na-induce siya because of that fraud. Binigay niya yung consent niya to enter into the corporation, sa subscription niya, maging shareholder siya. So, because of that inducement, dahil sa fraud, pwede niyang i-cancel yan. Pero these are exceptions, ha. Now let's go to section 61, consideration for stocks. So, siyempre, anong binabayad ng shareholders or ng mga future shareholders sa corporation? Anong pinambabayad nila para makakuha sila ng stocks? Ito, provided ni section 61 yan. So, consideration for stocks. Stock shall not be issued for a consideration less than the par or issued price thereof. So yan, take note. Less than the par or issued price thereof. Consideration for the issuance of stock may be, ito mga considerations na allowed ng ating corporation code. Cash mismo, property, whether intangible or tangible, basta actually received by the corporation. And ito, lawful purpose, valuation, labor, performed or services actually rendered. Ito, si Chris Aquino, di ba? Naging endorser siya ni Chowking. Tapos yung pinambayad sa kanya is naging shareholder siya and nakakuha siya ng franchise sa corporation. Yan, labor performed yun. Kasi nag-endorser siya ng ni Chowking. Previously incurred indebtedness of the corporation, ibig sabihin nagkaroon ng dasyon and pago. Na kung saan, instead na bayaran na sa pera, ang pinambayad na lang is shares ng corporation, dasyon and pago. Amounts transferred from unrestricted retained earnings to stated capital. Tawag dito, ito yung acquisition of the treasury shares. Amounts transferred from unrestricted retained earnings to stated capital. Ano yan? Repurchase of treasury shares. Outstanding shares exchanged for stock in the event of reclassification or conversion. Ito, shares of stock in another corporation and other generally accepted form of consideration. So, kapag yung consideration is other than actual cash or consists of intangible property, such as patents or copyrights, the valuation thereof shall initially be determined by the stockholders or ng board, subject to the approval ng commission. Shares of stock shall not be issued in exchange for promissory notes or future services. So dapat, yung promissory note, dapat makabayad talaga. Or future services, dapat nagawa muna yung service. So pag nagawa na yung service, tsaka lang i-issue yung corporation. Kaya nga dito, labor performed or service actually rendered, hindi future service. The same considerations provided in the section insofar as applicable may be used for the issuance of bonds by the corporation. Kasi as we know, nag-i-issue rin ng bonds your corporation. Nag-i-incur rin sila. The issued price of no par value shares may be fixed sa articles of incorporation or by the board of directors pursuant to authority conferred by them or by the articles of incorporation or bylaws if not so fixed by the stockholders representing at least majority ng outstanding capital stock at a meeting duly called for the purpose. So, kapag no par value shares, di ba? Pag no par value shares, ibig sabihin wala siyang stated value sa nakalagay sa sa articles of incorporation or sa bylaws. So, ang ginagamit nila nga pan-record sa kanya, as we know, is yung issued price. Magkano in-issue nung yung issue price nung in-issue yung shares na yon. And di ba pagdating sa mga no par value shares, wala tayong share premium kasi buong-buo, yung buong-buong buong-buong consideration is considered part of the capital. Ito mga salient points and remarks, may yung additional consideration sa old corporation code natin, wala ito, pero ngayon dinagdag yung share of stock of another corporation, so pwede sila mag-change na, uy, bilhin mo tong bilhin mo tong shares of stock, so ito naman yung pambayad ko sa'yo. And other generally accepted form of consideration, sources of corporate capital. Ito sa MAS yung madadaanan nyo to, yung mga equity securities, debt securities. So itong sources of capital, dito kumukuha ng capital si corporation kung saan yun yung ginagamit niya for its expenses sa kanyang mga investments. Una is funds furnished by shareholders. Ito yung, basically, without reading this, ito yung binabayad ng mga shareholders to acquire the shares of the corporation. Kung anong pinambayad nila, kung anong consideration, then that is the funds furnished by shareholders. Every corporation bango ng luto Lapit na New Year. Every corporation must issue stock, also called equity securities, to persons who want to, bango ng luto ang nanay ko. To persons who want to invest in capital in it for money, property, or services. So yan. Contribution shareholders received by stocks, etc. Ngayon, ito naman yung second, the borrowings, yung utang, debt. Yan yung another source of capital ng corporation for its finances. The capital of the corporation may be derived not only from the contribution shareholders but also from the borrowings, yung mga debt. Either sa mga loan advances, from the creditors, mga debt securities, basta liabilities. Ito naman, another source of capital is yung profits and stock dividends ng corporation. Siyempre, nag-ooperate ang corporation. Pag may kinikita siya, yun, source of capital yun. Now, a corporation also get internally generated funds from its profits or earnings which are reinvested sa business. Sometimes a corporation issue stock to represent the reinvested earnings. That is, stock dividends are declared by means of which a corporation retains part of the corporate earnings. Paano yan, sir? Di ba gaya na sabi natin kanina? Itong stock dividends, may pinanggagalingan yan. So, ito, for this context, under this concept, nagkaroon ng profits, net profit yung corporation. Now, di ba, pag ganun na nangyayari, ang board of directors, pwede yan sila, paano natin ito gagamitin itong profits na to? So, para naisip nila, para ma-satisfy naman yung mga yung mga shareholders nila, at the same time, retaining the profit, ang gagawin nila, magde-declare na lang sila ng stock dividends. Di ba? Magde-declare na lang sila ng stock dividends. So, yung profit, na-retain nila, para magamit as additional capital sa corporation, while at the same time, na-satisfy nila yung mga shareholders nila kasi nag-declare sila ng stock dividends. Di ba? Ganun yung nangyayari. So, kung sa accounting pa yan, ganito yan. May net profit ka. Close mo sa retained earnings. O saan nanggagaling yung mga Saan nanggagaling yung mga dinideclare nating dividends? Di ba galing sa retained earnings? So, in this case, since ang ginawa nyo lang dito, is mag-declare ng stock dividend. So, nagkaroon lang ng reclassification sa equity na binawasan mo yung retained earnings, nag-debit ka sa retained earnings, nag-credit ka sa stock capital. Simple. Na-satisfy mo na ang shareholders, na-retain mo pa yung profits. Kasi yung profits gagamitin mo as additional capital sa corporation. So that is a source of corporate capital. Basic. Hindi man basic. WAIS. Now, different modes by which shares may be issued. So, anong mga ways sa pag-issue ng shares? Admittedly, there can be no issuance of stock in any physical sense kasi incorporeal property siya. Abstract siya eh. Hindi siya concrete. Hence, hindi siya capable of manual delivery. The following are the modes by which a corporation may issue shares of stock. By subscription, before and after incorporation, to original unissued stock. Tandaan nyo, gaya na sabi natin kanina, subscription, it only refers to the unissued stock of the corporation. By sale of treasury stock after incorporation for money, property, or services, the subscription to new issues of stock when all the original stock has been issued and the amount of capital stock is increased. Pero same idea lang yan dito eh. Kasi nag-increase ka ng capital stock. So meron kang additional unissued stock. Parang same lang yan idea dito sa number 1. And by making a stock dividend. So those are the ways ng pag-issue ng issuance of stock ni corporation. Now, take note this. The word issue as used in section 61, ito, issue. Excuse me po. Mga issue word na ginamit sa section 61 refers only to original issue. That is when the stock first passes from the corporation to the hands of the stockholder. Thus, the stock cannot be sold below par or issued value at the original issue. Ito na-mention natin to, di ba? Ilang beses, mga 2 or 3 times na natin to na-mention in the past discussion. Pagdating sa hindi ka pwedeng mag-issue ng shares below par or issued value or issued price. Kasi, ang tawag doon, watered stock. Bawal yon. Binabaan mo. Kaya dito, the stock cannot be sold below par or issued price at the original issue. Sinabi natin yan. Sa original issue, bawal yan. Kasi watered stock yun eh. Watered stock yung tawag dyan. Pero, kapag treasury shares na yan, ibig sabihin, shares na na-issue, ni-repurchase ng corporation, ngayon, ibibenta niya ulit, i-issue niya ulit. Tawag doon, hindi na yung original issue. Kasi, binawi ni-repurchase ng corporation tapos ibibenta niya ulit ngayon. So, in that case, pwede na siyang ma-watered stock. Pwede mo siyang i-watered. Kaya nga watered ang term ginamit. Pwede mo na siyang mabenta below par or issued price. Tandaan nyo. Ang original issue, ibig sabihin, from unissued, gang source yan, unissued stock yung source niyan sa original issue. Hindi siya pwedeng ma-watered stock. Hindi siya pwedeng mabenta below par or issued value. Pero pagdating ng treasury shares, pwede. Resolver pa bro, even for less pwede. Kasi sa original issue lang yung siya nag-effect. Saan tayo dito? Consideration for issue of stock. So, may limitations tayo dyan. Ito yun. Share of stock cannot be issued for a consideration less than the par issued price kapag original issue lang yan. Except for treasury shares, as long as the price is reasonable, pwede siya below. They shall not be issued in exchange for promissory notes or future services. Dapat already rendered and dapat nandyan na yung consideration. Kasi promissory note, parang nagpa-promise ka lang to pay niyan eh. Dapat nandito na yung consideration talaga. Or dapat, ito sa future services, dapat it is already rendered. So when the consideration is other than the actual cash, kapag intangible property or other properties, yung valuation yan subject sa board of directors, incorporators, and subject to the approval ng commission. And the issued price of no par value shares must be fixed as provided in the last paragraph of section 61. Yan. Ito. Saan yun? So let's go to section 62 which talks about certificate of stock and transfer of shares. Now, di ba? Babasahin muna natin to. The capital stock ng corporation shall be divided into shares for which certificates signed by the president or vice president. Basically, this talks about yan the certificate ng corporation. Signed by the president or vice president, countersigned ng secretary or ng assistant secretary, and sealed with the seal of the corporation shall be issued in accordance with the bylaws of the corporation. So search nyo lang sa internet ano mga itsura ng mga certificate of stock or ng mga stock certificate ng mga corporation. Pustahan, yung unang nyo makikita doon sa images is yung PLDT, is yung San Miguel Corp. Nandun rin yung Bank of the Philippine Islands. Nandun. Yun yung mga top examples na makita nyo pag nag-search kayo sa Google Images ng stock certificates dito sa Pinas. Now, shares of stock so issued are personal property and may be transferred by delivery of the certificate of stock, endorsed by the owner, his attorney in fact, or any other person legally authorized to make the transfer. So, personal property ang stock certificate natin. And it can be transferred the delivery ng stock, endorsed by the owner, etc. No transfer, however, shall be valid except as between the parties until the transfer is recorded in the books of the corporation showing the names ng parties, transaction, etc. Additional informations. The commission may require the corporation of securities traded sa trading markets, ibig sabihin sa stock exchange natin, and which can reasonably demonstrate their capability to do so, to issue their securities or shares of stock in uncertified or scriptless form in accordance sa rule ng commission, no shares of stock, etc. etc. So ito yung mga salient points or remarks, mga ginawang from the changes galing sa old code. Section 62 ng Revised Corporation Code provides the commission may require corporation whose securities are traded sa trading markets. Ito yung mga gaya ng sabi natin, yung stock exchange natin, Philippine Stock Exchange, which can reasonably etc. etc. Same lang yan, basta uncertified or scriptless form. Ito, nature of certificate of stock. Now, if you can still remember, diba, nung dinefine natin yung stock, yung shares, last time, kinumpare natin sa certificate of stock. Basically lang sabi natin, ang stock is the ownership in the corporation. Yung certificate of stock is the evidence representing that ownership. Yun yung basically difference silang dalawa. So, na-discuss naman natin yun. So, nature ng certificate of stock. Ang certificate of stock is a written instrument signed by the proper office ng corporation stating or acknowledging that the person named doon sa certificate of stock is the owner or designated number of a designated number of shares. So, it's stock niya. Nandoon yung name ng holder, the number, kind and class of shares represented, ordinary ba, preference, and the date of issuance. Mahalaga yan ang date of issuance kasi kasi dyan nanggagaling yung kailan nag-start merong right si holder si shareholder sa corporation, kailan siya mano sa dividends, di ba? Kung off record siya, shareholder of record, di ba? The certificate is not stock in the corporation but merely an evidence. Yun, di ba? It is not essential to the existence of a share of stock or the creation of the relations of the shareholder. So kahit na mawala siya, does not necessarily mean na nawala na rin yung ownership mo sa shares ng corporation. Okay? Pero prima facie evidence siya that the holder is a shareholder sa corporation. In the absence ng certificate, the ownership of stock may be shown by the record thereof in the corporate books. So, yan, kahit mawala yung certificate of stock mo, hindi mawawala yung ownership mo sa corporation, sa ownership mo sa shares. A certificate of stock, like the shares represents, is a property. It is a personal property. But it has a value separate and distinct from the value of the shares it represents. And it is not a negotiable instrument. So, ano mga restrictions when it comes to the transfer of certificate of stock? In general, the law grants to stock corporation the authority to determine yung manner ng issuing ng certificate of stocks o ng stocks ng corporation sa kanyang bylaws. So, paano ba yan? Ano yung process? So, bahala ng corporation dyan. However, the power to regulate is not the power to prohibit. or to impose unreasonable restrictions on the right of the stockholders to transfer their shares. So, ang meaning ng transfer dito from one person to another. Ibig sabihin, ikaw, binili mo yung shares ng kaibigan mo sa San Miguel. That is a transfer of certificate of that's a transfer of shares. Binili mo yung stocks ng kaibigan mo. Transfer of shares yan. Or namatay yung may-ari ng shares. So, na-transfer yan sa kanyang heirs. O yun. So, sabi dito, the power to regulate is not the power to prohibit. Huwag mo pahirapan yung transfer. Kasi pwede kang makasuhan yan sa korte. O, mag-file yan sila. It merely authorizes the corporation to adopt regulations to the formalities and procedure to be followed in effecting the transfer. Where the transfer is subject to approval or prohibited, the bylaw which prohibits transfer stock without the consent or approval ng lahat ng stockholders or ng president or ng board is illegal because it constitutes to undue limitation on the right of ownership. Pag mamayari mo yan so it is your right kung anong gagawin mo dyan. And a restraint in trade. O, di ba? Kaya kung ganyan yung kahirap, ay di GG kayo pagdating sa wala tayo. Kung ganyan yung kahirap, mahirapan kayo. Lalo na sa sa trading, sa stock market natin. Kasi kung kailangan pa ng approval ng lahat ng stockholders or ng president or ng board of directors bago matransfer yung stock sa stock market, buy and sell doon, di mahirapan yan. That is a restraint in trade. And also, a limitation on the right of ownership. Because gaya na sabi ng batas natin, every person has a right to life, liberty, and property. And imposing that, kailangan pa ng approval, imposing that is an undue limitation on the right of ownership. Basically, inaano niya yung Bill of Rights mo. So, where transfer subject to first refusal. Diba? Napag-usapan natin itong first refusal na kailangan i-offer muna sa corporation or sa other shareholders yung stock shareholders. I mean, 'di ba? Napag-usapan natin 'to na pag magi-issue ng shares yung corporation, dapat i-offer niya muna 'to sa mga existing shareholders for the main reason as to prevent na yung interest nila ma-affect. 'Diba? Yun yung right of first refusal na napag-usapan natin. So dito meron din tayong tatawag na first refusal when it comes to transfer. Kasi yung previous na pag-usapan natin is when in a situation kung saan yung corporation yung mag-i-issue ng stock. So kailangan i-offer niya muna sa existing shareholders. Dito, meron rin yung dito. Meron rin concept dito. Pag mag-transfer si shareholders ng kanyang shares. Provision sa Articles of Incorporation requiring the stockholders desiring to sell or to transfer their stock na for them to offer first to the corporation or to the existing stockholders at a given reasonable date before disposing them to third persons may be considered valid and enforceable. So, ganun din dito. Ikaw, shareholder ka, gusto mong i-dispose, ibenta yung iyong share sa corporation. Na kapag nakalagay sa Articles of Incorporation na dapat i-offer mo muna to sa corporation na i-repurchase niya, maging treasury shares or sa other existing stockholders, then it is valid and enforceable. And lastly, where suspension of power for a certain period as beneficial purpose, etc. lang to. Ito, when certain persons Filipinos, when shares registered, basahin na lang. Ito, modes of transfer ng stock. Now, there are two requirements to effect the transfer of stock. Endorsement ng registered owner, by the registered owner, and yung delivery. So, pag wala yung isa dyan, walang valid transfer. Okay? Kung ito, no valid transfer, kung endorsement lang, no delivery, or delivery lang pero walang endorsement. Dapat yan silang dalawa, existing. Now, endorsement and delivery of stock. Kasi nakalagay yan dito, di ba? Balikan natin yung provision ni Section 62. Sana yan dito. No transfer, however, shall be valid between parties until the transfer is recorded sa book ng corporation showing the names na Dito, endorsed by the owner, or is stored in effect, or illegally. Dito yan sila. So, Section 62 provides that the share of stock may be transferred by delivery of the certificate endorsed by the owner. Ito, binasa lang natin ulit. Transfer made in a separate instrument, the word, etc. Judicial. Basahin lang to. So, validity of stock transfer. So, nagkaroon na ng transfer ng shares. Gaano yung validity niyan? As to the parties and other third persons. Now, as between the parties, the requisite for a valid transfer is merely the delivery of the certificate endorsed by the owner or his attorney in fact or other person legally authorized to make the transfer. So, kahit na walang registration, registration is not necessary to enable the transferee to acquire the right of a stockholder as against the transferor. No, the law provides in effect that an unregistered transfer shall not be valid except as between the parties. Nakalagay dito. Balikan natin si Section 62. No transfer, however, shall be valid except as between the parties until the transfer is recorded sa books ng corporation. So, kahit na hindi man na-record sa books ng corporation, the transfer is still valid between the parties nga lang. Hindi damay ang iba. Hindi damay si corporation, hindi damay ang other parties. Ang third persons. Valid lang siya between the parties kapag walang proper transfer o hindi na-record sa corporation, sa books ng corporation. The inference is that as between the parties, it is valid. It is the conveyance, not the act of registration, which gives title to the transferee. As between the parties, the title passes by contract and not by record. Now, in order to be valid as against third persons and the corporation, ito yung sabi natin, dapat yung transfer of shares is entered and noted upon the books ng corporation as to show the names of the parties, transaction, date of transfer, number ng certificate, and numbers of shares transferred. When the stock is transferred, when the stock transfer is entered sa corporate books, the buyer or transferee becomes a stockholder of record entitled to enjoy all the privilege of a stockholder. So gets, basically, scenario, nagkaroon lang ng transfer pero hindi na record sa books ng corporation. Then it is only valid between the parties, hindi valid against third person and corporation. Magiging valid lang yan sa third persons and sa corporation when it is recorded sa books ng corporation. Ganun lang. Haba-haba. Yun lang yung meaning nun. Effects of unregistered transfer of shares. Kapag hindi registered yung transfer of shares, ano yan? Ito, gaya na sabi natin, it is valid and binding between the parties. The transferor, yung record owner, and yung transferee, beneficial owner. It is invalid or ineffective sa corporation except when notice is given to the corporation for purposes of registration. So, kailangan mo nang i-record. Invalid siya as against corporate creditors and the transferor is still liable to the corporation. The transfer of stock by a shareholder does not relieve him from liability to creditors of the corporation for unpaid subscription. Lalo na pag unpaid subscription kasi may liability ka pang kailangan bayaran dyan eh. So, kapag, example. So, kapag ganun yung scenario, kailangan, ma-record mo na yung sa until the transfer is perfected by registering sa books ng corporation, etc. Same. So, yan, si Section 62. Basically talks about the transfer ng stocks. So, diba? So, okay, let's continue with our discussion. Let's go to Section 63 which pertains to the issuance of stock certificates. So, alam natin stock certificates, as we have said, ito yung written evidence ng ownership ng isang shareholder sa isang corporation. Or prima facie evidence, di ba? So, accordingly, sabi dito, no certificate of stock shall be issued to a subscriber until the full amount ng kanyang subscription together with its interest and expenses in case of delinquent share, itong interest and expenses, if any is due, has been paid. So, alam naman natin yung delinquent shares, basically ang meaning yan, kung kailan need na magbayad ni subscriber ng kanyang subscription pero hindi siya nakabayad, then yung shares na yon, yung subscription shares na yon will be treated as delinquent na. So, yung yung procedural matters nito, sa section 66 pa. 63 pa lang tayo. Pero yun yung basically idea ng isang delinquent shares. Kapag dumating na yung time na kailangan magbayad, hindi nakabayad. So yung shares na yon, yung subscription shares na yon will be treated as delinquent. Alam na, familiar naman tayo sa idea sa concept ng delinquent shares. So ito, illustration tayo. Assume daw na si S subscribe 100 shares at par value na 10 pesos each sa X Corporation for a total subscription of 1,000 pesos. Kasi 100 shares times 10, each of them, so 1,000 pesos in total. Now, in the subscription, S made an initial payment ng 500 pesos out of 1,000. Now, in this case, may dalawang option yung Board of Directors ng X Corporation. Yung una, the board may either apply the 500 pesos as full payment for the 50 shares out of 100 and issue a certificate of stock for that 50 shares. Or, second, payment pro rata for the entire 100 shares so that each share is paid 5 pesos, in which case no certificate shall be issued until the balance is fully paid. Ito, na-discuss na natin to or na-mention na natin to in the previous videos kung saan pagdating sa mga subscription and pag may partial payment, may dalawang options. Either i-apply yung like dito, kalahati pa lang yung nabayad, so yung kalahati, i-apply sa kalahati na shares. Or gagawing payment pro rata na lang. So kung saan, 100 shares dito, ang nabayaran pa lang is 500, so 5 pesos per share pa lang yung nabayaran. Kulang pa ng additional 5 pesos. Now, dito sa first option, pwede ka na mag-issue ng certificate of stock. Pero pag dito, sa second option, kapag payment pro rata yung naging decision ng Board of Directors, then you cannot issue a certificate of stock until the balance is fully paid. Now, dito, kaso may problema tayo. Kita nyo, the first alternative cannot be adopted when prohibited by the bylaws. Bylaws ng corporation na. So pag sinabi doon sa bylaws na you cannot issue share or the partial payment of share will be payment pro rata, o ibig sabihin bawal ka mag-issue ng shares kapag partial payment na yan. Pero pag allowed ng bylaws or hindi stated sa bylaws, then the Board of Directors pwede nilang mag-issue ng partiality kung walang prohibition ng payment pro rata. Ganun lang yun. So what is the purpose of prohibition provided in Section 63? Anong purpose yan? Now, the purpose ng prohibition na to is to prevent the partial disposition of a subscription which is not fully paid. Kasi nga partial. Because kapag ito ay permitted and the subscriber subsequently becomes delinquent in the payment of his subscription, magkakaroon ng problema. Because the corporation may not be able to sell as many of his subscribed shares as would be necessary to cover the total amount due from him which is authorized under Section 67. So, basically, ang sabi dyan, kapag nag-issue ka, yung 100 shares, in-issue mo na yung 50. Kahit na partial payment pa lang. Tapos, biglang na-delinquent si shareholders, si subscriber dito, wala na siyang pambayad. So, paano yun? Saan mo kukunin yung additional 50? For the additional 50 shares, pambayad sa additional 50 shares, naging delinquent na nga yung si subscriber So, mamuproblema pa si corporation. Saan niya kukunin yung pambayad ng 50 shares na hindi pa nababayaran? So, kaya may prohibition tayo dito sa Section 63. Kasi bibigyan mo pa ng dagdag problema si corporation So para para wala masyadong problema, sabi ni Section 63, okay, pagbawalan yung partial disposition. Pero take note, depende yan. Kung pipiliin ng Board of Directors na okay, yung buong 500 pesos for the 50 shares lang, or kapag sabihin ni Board of Directors itong 500 pesos, payment pro rata lang. So for each share, 5 pesos pa lang yung nababayaran. Yung natitirang 5 pesos, hindi pa nababayaran. So, ganyan yan. No, partial decision. So, ito, ano ang nature ng relation ni stockholder sa corporation? Diba? Anong nature of relationship nila dalawa? Ito, 4 tayo meron. Relation based on contract. The relationship between the corporation and kanyang shareholders is contractual. This is protected in the Constitution, which prohibits legislation impairing the obligation of contracts. To nagtax na ba kayo, no? Oo, diyan yung yung difference ng 3 powers or 3 powers ng state, di ba? Yung eminent domain, taxation, and police power. Pero as you know, yung police power, it can impair obligation of contracts. Pero yung taxation and yung eminent domain, it cannot. Yung tatlong inherent powers na yon. Si police power lang ang pwedeng mag-impair ng obligation of contracts sa batas yan natin. So yun, based on contract yung kanilang relationship. Now, share not indebtedness to stockholders. So as we know, itong share of stock ng shareholder is equity ownership. Hindi yan liability. Di ba? Equity ownership yan. Kasi nag-invest yan Nag-invest si shareholder sa corporation. Hindi niya pinautang si corporation. So, hindi yan liability. Nag-invest si shareholder sa corporation. Kaya, equity interest yan. Equity ownership interest. Pangalawa, corporation own its property as a distinct entity. As we know, may separate juridical personality ang corporation which gives it the property, the right to own property. Pag meron na siyang corporate existence. Stockholder unknown, trusty relationship kapag hindi alam kung sino yung stockholder. Baka dahil matagal na yung corporation, so hindi na matrace kung sino yung may-ari ng stocks na to, pero outstanding siya, pero hindi na matrace yung may-ari ng stock nito. So with that, ilalagay sa corporate books na si corporation, trustee siya, tagahawak lang muna siya ng shares ng unknown stockholder. O, relationship yan. Ito, rights and remedies of stockholders in general. So ito yung mga karapatan and yung mga remedies ng stockholders ng isang corporation. Ito, alam natin, right to attend vote, in-person proxy. Excuse me po. Ito, right to elect and remove directors. Sa pag-usapan natin to. Approve certain corporate acts at adopt, amend, repeal sa bylaws. Ito, compel the calling of meetings, certificate, receive dividends, participate distribution, etc. etc. Inspect corporate books, ito, financial statements. Ito, didiscuss natin to, yung right to bring individual and representative or derivative suits. Ano yan sila? Mahalaga yan sila. To recover stock unlawfully sold for delinquency, voting cash agreement, demand payment value of shares. In certain cases, ito, right of appraisal, right to have the corporation voluntarily dissolved. Now, most of these rights have already been discussed sa preceding articles or sections, and discussed subsequently. Only the right to bring representative or derivative suits will be discussed here. So, you have said. So, actions by stockholders or members. So, basically, ito yung introduction sa concept ng derivative suits. Now, action in behalf of the corporation is generally brought by or through the board of directors or trustees. Kasi sila yung governing body. So, those actions, siyempre, sila yung magpe-perform. Sila yung mangunguna because they are the governing body ng corporation. Now, the corporation represent their stockholders in all matters within the scope of their corporate powers. This is true respecting litigations as well as in other matters. As a result of this separate identity between the corporation and its stockholders, it follows that any wrong or injury done directly against the corporation gives rise to a cause of action on the part of the corporation through the board of directors and not primarily of an individual stockholder. So yun lang yun. Ito lang yun, alam naman natin, as we have said, yung board of directors, yung board of trustees, sila yung governing body ng corporation. So kapag there's any wrong or injury done directly against the corporation, it is the responsibility ng board to give rise to a cause of action in behalf of the corporation. Kasi alam, yung corporation na yan, kaya ba niyang mag-file even though may separate juridical personality yan? On its own, kaya ba niyang mag-file pupunta sa korte? Alangan naman yung building mismo yung gagalaw para pupunta sa korte. So, di ba? Kahit sa partnership, hindi pwede yan. Kasi alangan naman yung building ng partnership yung pupunta sa korte para mag-file ng kaso. Hindi ganon. Agents to sila. Oo. So, kasi inanimate object naman yan eh. So, kaya nga, yung board of directors yung agent ng corporation. So, yung in behalf of the corporation, kasi si corporation na injured or na may wrongdoing na ginawa sa kanya, it is the responsibility of the board of directors, board of trustees, to give rise to a cause of action in order to protect the interest of the corporation. This board of directors or trustees will do this in behalf of the corporation and not primarily ng individual stockholder. So ganun yung ganun yung normal na nangyayari. However, may mga instances na si board of directors cannot perform or will not perform such responsibility. Paano yan? Ano ang remedy para dyan? Nandito Right to bring individual or representative or derivative suit. Kapag hindi ma-actionan niya ni board of directors or trustees or refuses to do so, tsaka na papasok yung remedy ni stockholder to file an individual derivative or representative suit. So with that, derivative suit brought by stockholder in behalf of the corporation. Kasi dito, board of directors, trustees as agents of the corporation, being the governing body, sila dapat yung nagpa-file ng suit in behalf of the corporation. But since hindi nila ma-perform yun, yung responsibility na yun, either non-refusal or cannot, then papasok na si stockholder. Siya na yung magpa-file ng suit. Siya na yung mag-give rise to an action in behalf of a corporation. Ang tawag natin dyan, derivative suit. But whenever the officials of the corporation refuse to bring suit to redress the wrong, such as when they are the ones to be sued, sila mismo yung nag-cause ng injury, nag-cause ng wrongdoing against the corporation. Ganun, di ba? Kailangan naman sila mismo file ng kaso against sarili nila, di ba? So, pag may mga ganong instances, a stockholder may maintain a derivative suit to enforce the corporate right of action in behalf of himself, the other stockholders, and for the benefit of the corporation. So ito, the fact that no other stockholders made common cause with the suing stockholder is irrelevant because the smallness of his stockholdings is no ground for denying the relief. Bakit? Because in such suit, the corporation is the real party in interest while the suing stockholder on behalf of the corporation is only a nominal party. Pagdating sa judicial process kasi nating class, isa sa mga requirements is yung magpa-file ng kaso is a real party in interest. Ibig sabihin, apektado sa talaga sila ng issue at hand. Kasi pag yung nag-file ng kaso or yung nag-file in behalf ng kaso is walang real party in interest, dismiss yan agad sa korte. Di ba? Like dito, di ba? Pag kino-question yung like dito sa bansa natin, kapag kino-question yung legality ng isang batas, kahit ordinaryong citizen, pwedeng mag-file ng suit sa korte natin, questioning the legality of the law at hand. Papayagan yun sila. Bakit? Kasi they are real party in interest. Bakit? Kasi they are taxpayers di ba? Alam yung idea na yun. Pag basta taxpayer ka, mag-file ka ng kaso questioning the legality of a law, you are considered to be a real party in interest. Kasi damay ka dyan tax mong ginagamit dyan. May karapatan ka. May karapatan kang mangialam kung paano ginagastos yung tax mo. Kaya real party in interest yan. Same concept dito. In this case, not necessarily same concept, basta same idea. Pero pareho lang naman yun. So, same idea dito. Yung corporation dito, since yung wrongdoing, since yung injury was against the corporation, then the corporation is a real party in interest. May karapatan ang corporation na i-remedy yung wrongdoing na yon, na to sought remedy for the injury done to the corporation. However, as we know, a corporation, inanimate object siya, di ba? Inanimate siya. Wala siyang parang pagkatao ba? So, alangan naman yung building ang pupunta sa korte, magfa-file ng kaso, maglalakad? Hindi. So, because of that fact, kaya yung, di ba, kaya yung mga board of directors, or in this case, sa derivative suit, yung stockholder, on behalf of the corporation, sila na yung magfa-file. Kasi, gaya na sabi natin, corporation, inanimate yan siya. So, in this case, dito sa board of directors or trustees, sila yung magfa-file in behalf of the corporation. Pero pag hindi nila nagawa yung responsibility na yon, papasok ng derivative suit in which the stockholder on behalf of the corporation is a nominal party. So, saan yung gagawa? Saan yung mag-file ng derivative suit pero in behalf of the corporation? Ito na-mention natin to, di ba? Yung tatlo, actions by stockholders or members may be divided into three general categories. Ito yung derivative actions, individual actions, and representative actions. So, magkakaiba yan sila. Na-discuss na natin yung derivative suit. Excuse me po. So, derivative suit is thus defined as one brought by one or more stockholders or members in the name and on behalf of a corporation to redress wrongs committed against it or to protect or vindicate corporate rights whenever the officials of the corporation refuse to sue or are the ones to be sued. Ito, neglect of duty tawag dito, refuse to sue, or are the ones to be sued, ibig sabihin sila mismo yung kasalanan, or hold control of the corporation. It is a remedy designed by equity for those situations where the management through fraud, neglect of duty, or other cause declines to take the proper and necessary step to assert the corporation's right. Ngayon, tingnan nyo dito. Ito na mention natin to, real party in interest. Basically dito, ang mahalaga sa derivative suit. Dito pa tayo sa requisites. Okay, importance. Yun, mention naman natin to protect their interest basically. Saan ito? Ito mahalaga. Being in such action, the suing stockholder who actually instituted the guards, dito tayo, corporation joined either as plaintiff or defendant. Ito, kahit in a derivative suit filed by a stockholder, hindi importante whether the corporation should be joined. Ibig sabihin ng should be joined, isasama sa filing ng kaso, ng suit, as a plaintiff or defendant. What is important here is that the corporation should be made a party in order to make the court's judgment binding upon it and thus bar future litigations of the issue. Basically, under a judicial process, kailangan isama si corporation sa filing ng kaso para yung court magkaroon ng jurisdiction over the corporation. Para any decisions made by the court, it shall be binding upon the corporation. Kasi kapag hindi under the jurisdiction yung corporation sa kaso, under the jurisdiction of the court, any judgment made by the court, hindi binding yan. So, kailangan isama si corporation, whether si corporation ay plaintiff or defendant. Plaintiff, ito yung nagpa-file ng kaso. Defendant, ito yung finailan ng kaso against him. Yun, kaya nga defendant eh. So, kailangan si corporation masama sa jurisdiction ng court para any decisions made by the court shall be binding upon the corporation. So, importance of derivative suits. So, if the duties of care and loyalty which directors or trustees owe to their corporation could be enforced only in suits by the corporation, many wrongdoings done by the directors would never be remedied. Kung yung board lang yung may karapatan. Hence, the existence of derivative suits. Para kapag yung board hindi nila gagawin yung responsibility nila, neglect of duty, or sila mismo yung nag-cause ng fraud, sila mismo yung dapat kasuhan, then karapatan ng mga shareholders ang i-exercise yung remedy of derivative suits in order to redress the wrongdoings. But take note, dito, pagdating sa derivative suits, dapat yung na-injured, not necessarily yung physically injured, pero pwede rin yun. Pero in the legal sense, sa kanya na siya yung nadehado, kumbaga, siya yung nadehado, yun yung meaning ng injury sa legal sense kasi ang alam natin sa injury, 'di ba, yung may sugat, mga ganun. Pero pagdating sa legal sense, injury means ikaw yung nadehado. So, take note sa derivative suits, dapat yung corporation mismo yung nadehado. Tapos yung shareholders in behalf of the corporation, siya yung magpa-file ng kaso. Ito, requisites, na-mention naman natin to, di ba? There must be an existing cause of action in favor of the corporation as where the board of directors or trustees wastes or dissipates the funds of the corporation, fraudulently disposes of its property, or perform ultra vires and not in favor of particular stockholder bringing the suit. Kasi in this case, as you can see, yung wrongdoings is performed against the corporation. So, ano yung meaning, sir? There must be an existing cause of action in favor of the corporation. Meaning lang yan, nangyari na yung injury, nangyari na yung wrongdoing. So, since nangyari na yun, kailangan ma-redress yun, matama yung mali. Na pag natama yung mali na yun, yung magbe-benefit si corporation. Kasi si corporation na saktan eh. So, pag natama yung mali na yun, then, the existing cause of action is in favor of the corporation. Kasi pag natama yung mali na yun, si corporation yung magbe-benefit. Yun yung meaning dito. So, the stockholder or members must first make a demand upon the corporation or management to sue unless such a demand would be futile or useless. And the corporation refuses or fails to sue notwithstanding such demand. This is known as exhausting intra-corporate remedies. So, parang ganito yan sa judicial system natin. Bago kayo pumunta sa korte, mag-usap mo, parang ganito, bago kayo pumunta sa korte, lalo na pag civil actions, mag-usap-usap muna kayo. Pag-usapan nyo muna yung awa nyo, mag-areglo muna kayo. Kasi, pag pupunta kayo sa korte, na grabe, mas mahihirapan kayong mag-areglo kasi mag-aaway-aaway kayo doon. Mahal pa yan. Mahal ang bayad sa abogado. Matagal yung process. Tapos, basta ganun yun. Hassle siya, kumbaga. In simple terms, hassle kapag pupunta ka pa kayo sa korte. So, ang maganda, dapat pag-usapan nyo muna yan. Kaya dito, make a demand upon the corporation. Pag-usapan nyo muna. Mag-areglo kayo. Pero pag, hindi talaga kaya, then doon na. Pwede na kayong pumunta sa korte. The stockholder or member must have been such at the time, the stockholder or member must have been such at the time of the objectionable acts or transactions. Basta basically, dito, nung nangyari yung wrongdoings, nung nangyari yung injurious action caused to the corporation, dapat stockholder siya or member. Or exception, unless such transactions continue are injurious to him or affect him especially or specifically in some other way. Like for example, dahil grabe na yung wrongdoing, so ikaw mismo umalis ka na sa corporation, so it compelled you ba to depart from the corporation because of how injurious it affects you. Pero ang general rule, dapat when the wrongdoing or when the injurious action was committed, dapat stockholder or member ka as well as the time na final mo yung action sa korte. Pero may exceptions, unless such transaction continue and injurious to him or affects him specially or specifically in some other way, so umalis ka sa corporation, pwede ka pa rin mag-file ng derivative suit. The action must be brought by the stockholder or member in the name and for the benefit of the corporation. Now, in the later slides natin, malalaman nyo na may mga distinguishment yan. Basta tandaan nyo, pagdating sa derivative suit, ganito lang yan. May nangyaring injury, wrongdoing against the corporation. Then, it is the responsibility of the board of directors or the board of trustees to bring an action to redress that. Itama yung mali. Now, if the board of director refuses to do so or sila mismo yung may kasalanan, then the stockholder in behalf of the corporation, kasi si corporation yung na-injure, si corporation yung na-wrongdoing, in behalf of the corporation, then the shareholder or the member can file a derivative suit to redress the wrongdoing that was committed against the corporation. Tandaan nyo, against the corporation. Yan sa derivative suit. Let's go to individual suit. Iba to siya. Si shareholder rin yung magfa-file ng kaso. However, in this case, yung wrongdoing, yung injury, was not caused to the, hindi kay corporation, kundi kay individual shareholder. Yun lang yun. Yun yung difference nila. So, tatandaan yung difference nila. Sa derivative suit, yung wrongdoing was caused to the corporation. In an individual suit, the wrongdoing was caused to the individual stockholder, individual member. Like for example, ito, denial of right to vote, denial right to share sa dividends, yan. Yan si individual suit, basically. So, basahin niyo lang to. Yun lang yung idea ng individual suit. Ito naman si representative suit. Basically, ito, same sa ka-individual suit in such a sense na yung injury is against the stockholders, is against the members. But in this case, grupo na kayo. Oo, isang grupo na kayo. Parang class action lawsuit. Maramihan kayo dito. Marami kayong na-injure. So, since marami kayong na-injure, then, a stockholder may bring a suit in behalf of himself and all other stockholders who are similarly situated. So, yun yung si representative suit. Okay, derivative suit, gaya na sabi natin, the wrongdoing, the injurious action was caused to the corporation. Individual suit, the wrongdoing, the injurious action was caused to the individual stockholder. Dito naman, representative suit, the wrongdoing, the injurious action was caused to a group of stockholders. Okay, yun lang yung difference nila. Okay, distinguishment, nasabi natin, liabilities ni stockholders. So, siyempre, hindi lang rights, meron si stockholders, meron isang liabilities to the corporation. Yung unpaid subscription, interest on unpaid subscription, liability to creditors of the corporation on unpaid subscription, trust fund doctrine, di ba? Watered stock, dividends unlawfully paid, kailangan niyang isauli, and failure to create corporation because of his his actions. Now let's go to section 64. Now section 64 talks about the liability of directors for watered stock. Etong watered stock, na-discuss na natin to mga 2 or 3 times before, di ba? Basically, watered stock, it is a share that was issued or nabenta that is lower than its par value or tawag ito, that was issued, kung saan yung issue price niya is lower than its par or stated value. Yan si watered stock, di ba? Now, section 64 primarily talks about watered stocks, kung saan liability ng directors when it comes to watered stock. A director or officer ng corporation who consents to the issuance of a stock for consideration less than its par or issued, issued pala na mention, issued, yung consideration price is less per share, is less than the par or issued value, yun pala na kamali ako sa mention kanina, consideration per share is less than its par or issued value, consents to the issuance of stock for consideration other than cash valued in excess of its fair value, or having knowledge of the insufficient consideration, does not file a written objection with the corporate secretary, shall be liable. O kahit ano, having knowledge ko, kahit na wala kang participation pero alam mo nangyari, tapos wala kang ginawa, yun, you'll be liable pa rin. Shall be liable to the corporation or its creditors solidarily. So if you can still remember, obligation and contracts, anong meaning ng solidary obligation? Meaning lang yan, each and every debtor each and every debtor shall be liable for the entirety of the obligation. Yeah? Hindi yan sa same sa joint contract, sa joint obligations, di ba? Ito solidary obligation to. Each and every debtor is responsible for the payment of the entire obligation. Di ba? Yun yung natin. Yun yung solidary obligation. And each one of the creditor is entitled for the entire obligation. Di ba? Yung meaning ng solidary contracts or solidarity obligation. So in this case, the guilty director shall be solidarily liable to the corporation or its creditors or solidarily with the stockholder concerned. Pati yung stockholder damay dito kasi alangan nagbayad siya ng consideration for less concerned for the difference between the value received at the time of issuance of the stock and par or issued value of the same. So watered stock defined. So kasi parang watered, 'di ba? Parang binabaan mo. Parang ganun yung sense niya kaya watered stock yung term. So watered stock is a stock issued not in exchange for its equivalent price either in cash, property, shares, stock dividends or services. So it includes issued without consideration, bonus share, basta mo lang binigay. Issued as fully paid when the corporation has received a lesser sum of money than its par or issued value, meaning diniscount mo. Or issued for consideration other than actual cash such as property or services, the fair valuation of which is less than its par value or issued value. And issued as stock dividends when there are no sufficient retained earnings or surplus. So yan yung mga instances na kung saan watered stock yung share na na-issue. Dito without consideration. Dito discount, mas mababa yung consideration. Dito hindi cash yung but property or services na kung saan yung valuation niya mas mababa rin. And dito stock dividends na walang sufficient retained earnings. So yan, mga watered stock yan. Watered stock. So ito example. Where the par value of a par value share or the issued value of par value share is 100 pesos. Pero 80 lang yung binayad sa corporation for the share. Pero in-issue pa rin as fully paid. Then the share is considered to be as watered or fictitiously paid up to the extent of 20 peso. Kasi 100 yung par value, 80 lang yung binayaran. Tapos in-issue ng corporation as if na fully paid. Then, watered yan. 20 pesos yung difference. Liable yan sila for the difference of 20 pesos. Now, the issue itself is not void. But the agreement that the shares shall be paid for less than its par value or issued value is illegal and void and cannot be enforced. Now, Section 64 prohibits the issuance of watered stock to protect persons who may acquire stock and the creditors of the corporation, particularly those who may become such on the fate of its outstanding capital stock being fully paid. Trust fund doctrine, di ba? The prohibition secures equality among subscribers and prevents discrimination against those who have paid in full the par or issued value of their shares. Siyempre, ikaw, nag-pay ka ng buong buo, tapos yung iba, diniscount lang or less consideration yung binayad nila. So, that is unfair. So, yun. Secures equality and protects the rights of creditors, trust fund doctrine. As to the corporation, the issuance of watered stock is not merely ultra vires. Di ba? Basically, ang definition natin sa ultra vires is not necessarily illegal but rather acting beyond the powers of the corporation. Not necessarily illegal. Pero pagdating sa issuance ng watered stock, illegal siya. Kasi it's a violation ng batas natin. Section 61 is And as to creditors, the law makes no distinction between those who became such prior and subsequent to the issuance of watered stock. The liability attaches whether or not creditors have relied on an overvaluation of corporate capital. And as to the commission, whether or not an issuance would amount to an issue of watered stock is well within the authority to inquire into view and its power and duty to enforce all laws affecting. But take note, na-mention na natin to, di ba? Ito, na-mention na natin to. Prohibition refers only to original issue. Ibig sabihin, from unissued, yung mga unissued capital stock or mga unissued yung tawag dito, yung unauthorized ba yun? Unissued o yung unissued capital stock, di ba? Yung sa authorized capital stock mo, yung mga unissued portion doon. Tapos first time na issue, original issue. Diyan lang na-apply yung prohibition sa watered stock. The prohibition to issue watered stock refers only to the original issue of stock but not to subsequent transfer of stock by the corporation. For then it would no longer be an issue but a sale thereof. O, di ba? Kita nyo dito? Kung makita nyo ito, mga original issuance to. O, mga original issuance yan. Kasi, once na na-issue na yan, tapos nagkaroon pa ng transfer ulit, then it is not considered as an issue. But rather, sale na ang tawag doon. Sale of stocks. Na-consider lang as issue kapag original issue. Nanggaling sa authorized capital stock mo, yung unissued portion. Okay? Accounting for partnership and contracts. Yung authorized share capital, authorized shares, yung mga unissued portion, tapos na issue, yun yung original issue. Pero the subsequent transfer, the subsequent disposition of such shares, hindi na siya, it can no longer be called an issue, but rather a sale. Kaya yung mga treasury shares natin, diba, na-mention natin to, ilang beses natin ito napag-usapan si treasury shares, yung watered stock. Treasury shares may be sold for less than their par or issued value, for they have already been issued and paid for, provided the price is reasonable. They may be given out in the form of bonuses as additional compensation for satisfactory services rendered by the grantee. So yan prohibition for watered stock only on original issue. Now, what are the effects ng pag-issue ng isang watered stock? Sa corporation, the issuance is not merely ultra vires but considers illegal. Sa creditor, ito na-mention natin ito kanina, di ba? Sa liability for watered stock, not only the corporate creditors but also the corporation itself or any dissenting stockholder for in behalf of the corporation in the case of the corporation refuses to claim the difference not received can set up the inadequacy of the corporation for the issuance of stock. So dito, the liability of the consenting director or officer for the water in the stock is solidarily with the participating stockholder. Tandaan natin, solidary means each and every debtor is liable for the entire obligation. Hindi sila prorata dyan. Buong obligation, liable sila. To subscriber, etc. etc. Now, interest on unpaid subscription. Subscribers to stock shall be liable, Section 65 tayo, subscriber to stock shall be liable to the corporation for interest on all unpaid subscription from the date of subscription, if so required by and at the rate of interest fixed in the subscription contract. If no rate of interest is fixed in the subscription contract, the prevailing legal rate is applied. Shall apply. So ngayon, sa Pinas, dati kasi 12% yung legal rate natin. Ngayon, 6% na lang per annum. Bakit itong pangit na 6 na lang per annum. Dati 12% yung legal rate natin. So, provides the interest of subscription will now be stated sa subscription contract. So ito, Section 66, which talks about the payment of balance of the subscription. So, paano daw yung proseso when it regards to the payment ng natitirang balance sa subscription ng isang subscriber. Now, sabi dito, subject to the provisions of the subscription contract, yung board of directors may at any time declare due and payable to the corporation unpaid subscription and may collect the same or such percentage thereof in either case, which accrued interest if any as it may deem necessary. So, ganun daw. Nasa decision ng board kung at any time, pwede nilang sabihin na, uy, subscriber, you must pay your remaining subscription already sa amin. Together with with the accrued interest, pwede rin buong-buo ang pag-collect or patingi-tingi lang, such percentage thereof. Kasama ang interest if it may deem necessary. Now, the payment of unpaid subscription or any percentage thereof, together with any interest accrued, shall be made on the date specified sa subscription contract. So, pag sinabi subscription contract August 30, edi August 30 yung bayaran. Or on the date stated in the call made by the board. Ito, nangyayari to kapag kapag walang stated date subscription contract, then magko-call yung board of directors. So, ano yung call, sir? Tatawagan talaga nila. Basically, itong call, parang board resolution siya. Sasabihin na, on this date, yung mga subscribers na to, magbabayad sila 50% ng kanilang subscription, or on this date, babayaran na nila yung kanilang subscription, lahat-lahat. So, yun, parang board resolution siya. Call lang yung tawag. So, failure to pay on such date shall render the entire balance due and payable and shall make the stockholder liable for interest at the legal rate, 6% on such balance. Kapag unless a different interest rate is provided sa subscription contract. Now, the interest shall be computed from the date specified until full payment of the subscription. Now, ito. What if hindi nakabayad? Ano mangyayari? If no payment is made within 30 days from the said date, then all stocks covered by the subscription, tingnan nyo, kahit na nabayaran mo na yung 25% dyan, pero pag hindi ka nakabayad sa remaining, dumating na yung deadline, then lahat-lahat yan, kahit yung nabayarang portion mo, will be covered. All stocks covered by the subscription shall thereupon become delinquent. So kahit nakabayad ka dyan ng 25% portion, pero yung natitira, pagdating ng deadline, hindi mo nabayaran, then yung buong subscription mo will be declared as delinquent and shall be subject to sales as hereinafter provided sa Section 67 unless the Board of Directors orders otherwise. So, remedies to enforce the payment of stock subscription. Section 66 applies to a stock corporation recourse on unpaid subscription. Ito yung mga remedies, 3. Extrajudicial, sale, at a public auction. This is the foremost and special remedy and it consists, di ba? If you can still remember sa accounting for corporation nyo, di ba, yung shares of delinquent stocks, di ba? Meron kayo kung sino yung highest bidder, di ba? If you can still remember. Tapos kung may payment na ginawa si subscriber, si delinquent subscriber, then maghati sila ni highest bidder sa ilang stocks marireceive nila. Pero pag si delinquent subscriber wala pa lang nabayaran ni isa, then buong-buo mapupunta kay highest bidder. Later sections. Pero ganun yung idea, if recap lang, if you can still remember accounting for corporation. So ito, this is the first and most special remedy and it consists in permitting the corporation to put up unpaid stock for sale and dispose of it for the account of the delinquent subscriber. In this case, the provisions of Section 66 and 68 inclusive are applicable and must be followed. Kung meron tayo tatawag na judicial action, pupunta kayo sa korte mismo. Now, this other remedy is by court action under Section 69. Nice. The statutory right to sell the subscriber stock is merely a remedy in addition that which proceeds by action in court. So, pwede din kayo pumunta sa korte. And, familiar na kayo dito. Yung collection sa cash dividends and withholding stock of dividends, diba dito? Pag nag-declare ng cash dividends, pwedeng ipataw muna doon sa remaining subscription. Then pag stock dividends naman hindi declare, hindi pwedeng i-distribute, i-withheld muna until full payment. Diba? Sa Section 42. Now, statutory sanctions on stock delinquency. Now, rights denied to stockholder. Now, under Section 70, yung stock delinquent for unpaid subscription shall not be voted or entitled to vote or representation at stockholders meeting. Wala siyang karapatan, rights denied. Nor entitled to the holder thereof any rights of stockholder except the right to dividends, yung sa cash, pwedeng i-apply sa subscription or pag stock dividends, we withheld muna. O to all elections of directors, it is expressly declared under Section 23 that no delinquent stock shall be voted. Ito naman, karapatan ng corporation when it comes to stock delinquency. Under Section 42, ito sabi natin, the corporation has the right to first apply the cash dividends due on the delinquent stock to the unpaid balance on the subscription plus cost and expenses. Pag stock dividends naman yung na-declare, then withhold muna. Pero this may exercise by corporation although it is not provided in its bylaws. Now, let's talk about the payment of unpaid subscription or percentage thereof. Kasi gaya na sabi natin, depende sa usapan nila kung buong-buo yung bayaran or patingi-tingi lang. So na dito, when to be made, kailan yung bayaran. Now under section 66, paragraph 2, the payment of unpaid subscription or percentage thereof, together with this interest, if any, if there are, shall be made on the date specified, di ba? Ito. Saan yun? Date specified sa subscription contract or date stated sa ginawang call ng Board of Directors or dalawang dates tayo meron kung kailan yung bayaran. Kailan yung subscription date specified sa subscription contract or in the absence of any specified dates sa subscription contract yung walang date doon, then on a date stated in the call made by the Board of Directors. So yun, as we have said, yung call na yan is basically a board resolution declaring na okay, on this date, inform nila yung mga subscriber na okay, on this date, 50% dapat ng subscription nyo dapat bayad na. Ganun. The contract of subscription or the call by the Board of Directors, as the case may be, may require the payment of the entire unpaid subscription or only a certain percentage. Kaya sabi, baka 50% lang dapat yung banabayad at this date, thereof on the date specified for payment. So yun, dalawang dates tayo meron when it comes to the payment of unpaid subscription. Kung anong nasa contract, pag wala sa contract, sa call na ginawa ng Board of Directors. Ang call, basically, that is the board resolution made by the Board of Directors para inform, i-notice, bigyan ng ultimatum, kumbaga, yung mga subscriber na magbayad. Now, what will happen if hindi nakabayad? Effect of failure. The failure to pay on such date shall render the entire balance due and payable and make all the stocks covered by subscription delinquent and subject to sale at public auction. As you can see here, entire balance due and payable and make all the stocks covered by the subscription. So kahit na 50% na yung nabayad mong subscription, tapos yung pagdating ng subscription, ang date subscription contract o yung date stated sa call na ginawa ng Board of Directors, hindi mo nabayad. Hindi ka nakabayad ng natitirang percentage. Wala. Kahit na nakabayad ka na ng 50, the entire subscription will be treated as delinquent. Yan sinabi ng batas. Pero as you know, if you can still remember, gaya sabi natin sa accounting for corporation nyo, pagdating sa pag may bumiling highest bidder, then hatian sila depende sa, di ba may formula yon, depende sa nabayaran nilang contribution. So this means the delinquency shall cover not only the unpaid portion of the stockholder subscription but the entire subscription. Delinquent yan, sabi natin. Consistent with the doctrine that a subscription is one entire indivisible whole contract. So yan yung basis. Call and assessment, ganyan sabi natin, yung call is the declaration officially made by the corporation, usually expressed in the form of a resolution by the board, requiring the payment of all or certain prescribed portion of the subscriber stock subscription. Requisites of a valid call. This is for the intended to safeguard the rights ng stockholders and subject them to only to equality of assessments. Ito, made in the manner prescribed by law. By law yan ng batas, hindi yung by law ng corporation. Prescribed by law. Must be made by the Board of Directors and must operate uniformly upon all shareholders, equality. Kasi pag ganyan yung ginawa, void, etc., etc. The power of the Board of Directors to make call. As to the date of payment, the Board of Directors may at any time declare due and payable unpaid subscription. Kapangyarihan yun ng board. Power yun nila. This power of the director is no longer absolute as it can be limited by the date that was stated in the subscription contract. So, pag may date sa subscription contract, yun ang ifa-follow. Tsaka lang, mabibigay yung kapangyarihan sa board of directors na mag-state ng date kapag walang date stated sa subscription contract. Okay? Such that the director may not disregard the amount to be paid in the period for payment fixed in the subscription contract and make a call earlier. Kasi sabihin natin, July 30 yung date specified sa sa subscription contract. Tapos yung board of directors gagawa ng call na May 30 pa lang dapat bayad na kayo. Ay, hindi yun. Unfair yun. Void yun. Ifa-follow yung sa subscription contract. Yung date na nakalagay doon. As to necessity, wisdom, and advisability of all such question arising in any particular case of call is within the power ng board of directors to make is to be determined by the directors, and their motive of your judgment is not open to attack by the stockholders if it is in good faith and for the purpose of the benefit ng corporation. Ibig sabihin, discretion niya ng board. Sila, depende na sa kanila, discretion niya nila kung ano yung mga details in regards sa call na gagawin nila. Basta it is made in good faith and for the benefit ng corporation. So, it cannot be attacked by the stockholders. Pag ganun. Ito, necessity and purpose ng call. Basahin niyo na lang. Ito, delinquency sale. Ba nasabi natin dito sa section 67, section 66, na if no payment is made within 30 days from the said date, all stocks covered by the subscription shall thereupon become delinquent and shall be subject to sale as herein after provided. So, ito na, si section 67. Delinquency sale. The board of directors may, by resolution, order the sale of delinquent stocks and shall specifically state the amount due on each subscription plus accrued interest, and the date, time, and place ng sale which shall not be less than 30 days, not less than 30 days, nor more than 60 days from the date the stocks become delinquent. So, kailan nagiging delinquent yung stock? Dito. Balikan ng section 60. Stated kung kailan nagiging delinquent yung stock. If no payment is made within 30 days from the said date. So, from the date specified sa subscription contract or the date stated sa call. If within 30 days from those dates, hindi nakabayad, delinquent na yung stocks. Unless the board of directors orders otherwise. So, yun. Lumampas na ng 30 days. So, delinquent na. So, since delinquent na, papasok na sa section 67, delinquency sale na. Tapos, and the sale which shall not be less kung saan, and the date, time, and place of sale which shall not be less than 30 days nor more than 60 days from the date the stocks become delinquent, dapat mangyari ng sale. So, yan. 1 to 2 months. Di ba? Between 1 and 2 months. Notice of the sale with a copy of the resolution shall be sent to every delinquent stockholder. Siyempre, kailangan silang inform. Either personally, registered mail, or through other means provided by the bylaws. So, pwedeng electronic mail or email para sa mga kabataan ngayon. The same shall be published once a week for 2 consecutive weeks in a newspaper of general circulation in the province or city where the principal office of the corporation is located. So, itong mga publications na to, mga important procedural matters to, kasi marami sa batas natin na kapag hindi na-follow itong notice na to, hindi na-follow itong mga procedural matters na to, yung actions taken will be considered void or improper. So, take note lang pagdating sa mga notice na to, or itong publication na to, pag yan hindi na-follow, magiging void yung action nyo. Yung maraming cases na dyan maraming cases na yan na kahit in good faith ka man, hindi mo na follow yung procedural matters na to. Kahit good faith ka, ginawa mo yung action mo, it will still considered be void. So, follow the procedural matters. Unless the delinquent stockholders pays to the corporation on or before the date specified for the sale of the delinquent stock, the balance due on the former subscription plus accrued interest cost of advertisement and expense of sale, or unless the board of directors otherwise orders, said delinquent stock shall be sold at a public auction. So, binigyan pa ng chance si stockholder na, si delinquent stockholder na nahabulin pa yung bayad niya. Kaso, nadagdagan yung babayaran niya. The balance due on the subscription, plus yung accrued interest, plus yung cost of advertisement and expense of sale. Kasi i-auction na eh. So may gastos yan. Or unless the board of director otherwise orders, or pag hindi na sa binayaran ng board, said delinquent stock shall be sold at a public auction to such bidder who shall offer to pay the full amount of the balance on the subscription together with the accrued interest, cost of advertisement and expense of sale for the smallest number of shares or fraction of a share. So tawag dito si highest bidder. So pinakamataas na bayad for the minimum or for the smallest number of shares. Yun yung highest bidder. Highest payment for the smallest number of shares. So, di ba, if you can still remember, paulit-ulit ako sa if you can still remember accounting for corporation para malilate nyo. Kasi, itong mga sinasabi natin dito, na pagdaanan nyo na yan sa accounting for corporation nyo. Ang pagkakaiba lang nga, is yun for accounting. Ito, for batas. So, yung basis ng accounting for corporation nyo is dito sa batas. Yung batas mismo yung nagsabi na ganun yung gagawin. So, di ba? If you can still remember your accounting for corporation, yung sa highest bidder nyo, di ba? Highest number of payment for the lowest number of shares. Yun si highest bidder, tandaan nyo. The stocks of purchase shall be transferred to such purchaser in the books of the corporation, and certificate for such stock shall be issued in the purchaser's favor. Ito na yung sasabi natin. The remaining shares, if any, shall be credited in favor of the delinquent share, who shall likewise be entitled to the issuance. Di ba? May mga cases na hati sila ni highest bidder. Who shall likewise be entitled to the issuance of a certificate of stock covering such shares. Yan. Now, should there be... Sana ako? Ayun. Should there be no bidder at a public auction who offers to pay the full amount of the balance on the subscription together with the accrued interest, cost of advertisement, and expenses of sale for the smallest number of shares or fraction of share, the corporation, subject to the provisions of this code, bid for the same, and the total amount due shall be credited as fully paid in the books of the corporation. So parang sila na yung bumili. Title to all the shares of stock covered by the subscription shall be vested in the corporation as property as treasury shares and may be disposed of by the said corporation in accordance with the provision of this code. So yun, pag walang bidder, edi si corporation na lang yung bibili ng sarili niyang stocks. Kung saan, since basically it's a stock owned by the corporation, it is treated as treasury shares. Ito, salient points that was changed as compared to the old Corporation Code, provisions of other modes issuing notice of sale. Notice of sale of delinquent stock may be sent through other means provided by law. Yung sabi natin, through email. Ito, procedures for the sale of delinquent stock. Briefly, the procedure is as follows. The resolution declaring unpaid, subscription payable. The board of directors, ang board of directors natin, will pass a resolution declaring payable the whole or certain percentage of the unpaid subscription, stating the date fixed for payment. Ito, napag-usapan natin sa section 66, di ba? If the date of payment is specified sa sa contract, sa subscription contract, then no call is necessary. So basically yan, yung padating na yung bayaran either sa date na stated by the subscription contract or on a call made by the board of directors kapag walang date specified sa subscription contract. So, paramount, mas mataas yung superiority ng date specified sa subscription contract as compared sa call na gagawin ng directors. Magko-call lang yung directors kapag walang date specified sa subscription contract because hindi nila pwedeng i-impair yung obligation sa contracts. O impairment of the obligation sa contracts. Saan ako? Number 2. Notice to stockholders of resolution. The stockholders are given notice of the resolution by the secretary ng corporation, either personally or through registered mail or other means also, like electronic mail. The publication of the notice of call is not required. Kasi hindi naman yung kailangan eh. Ang kailangan lang na publication is yung nandito, notice of sale. Pero notice of call hindi. Notice of sale, oo, kailangan ng publication. If the stockholders do not pay within 30 days from the date specified sa contract of subscription or on the date stated sa call ng directors, then all stocks covered by the subscription shall thereupon become delinquent and subject to sale unless otherwise the board of directors orders, di ba? Saan yun? Unless the board of directors orders otherwise. Yun. Conversely, saan na ako dito? Covers sa thereupon become delinquent, subject to sale. Conversely, unpaid shares which are not delinquent, not subject to sale, in view proviso. Okay. Ito yung third step, resolution, ordering sale of delinquent stocks. Yung board of directors, by resolution, orders the sale ng delinquent stock, stating the amount due and the date, time, and place of sale with notice to the delinquent stockholders, which notice of sale shall be published. Yung kailangan ng publication. This means that it is the board of directors that has the authority to fix and determine the selling price ng delinquent stocks. Notice and publication ng delinquent stock, the price unless the board of directors otherwise orders means that the board of directors may order the extension of the time and date of sale. However, if the prescribed 60-day period shall be extended, notice of such extension must be again served and published in the same manner required by law or for the notice of delinquency. So, pag in-extend nila, kailangan ulit silang mag-notice, mag-publication. And mahal ang publication sa newspaper of general circulation. Mahal yan. Yung isang page ito, umabot ng 100,000 pesos per pero dati pa yun. Sa mga national newspapers, 100,000 pesos yan per the page for advertisement. So, dati pa yun. So, mas mataas na siguro yun ngayon. Or baka mas bumaba kasi di ba? Wala na halos pakonti-konti na lang yung gumagamit ng nagbabasa ng newspaper. So baka mas bumaba pa. And last step is yung magbebenta na ng delinquent stock. On the date of the sale, sa public auction, so many shares of the stock as may be necessary to pay the amount due on subscription with the accrued interest, cost of advertisement, and expense of sale will be sold at public auction to the highest bidder for cash. Unless there was an agreement beforehand that the dividends earned by the delinquent stock before the delinquency sale was affected shall inure to the winning bidder, the same belong to the delinquent stockholders. Ito yung Unless there was an agreement beforehand na dividends earned by the delinquent stock before the delinquency sale was affected shall inure to the winning bidder, the same belongs to the delinquent stockholders. Ito, meaning ng highest bidder, nasabi natin to, is the person offering at the sale to pay the full amount of the balance for resolution together with accrued interest and other expenses for the smallest number of shares or fraction of a share. Thus, the subscriber cannot incur any deficiency liability because the highest bid must not be less than the full amount due. So yan, full amount due. Yung sa subscription, kasama ang interest, kasama yung cost of advertisement and expenses for the sale. Only the number of shares which the bidder is willing to buy shall be transferred to the highest bidder. And as we said, yung iba pwedeng mabigay sa subscriber, sa delinquent subscriber, yung natitira. Ito illustration, basahin nyo na lang. Right of corporation to reject highest bid. Section 67, paragraph 2 provides that the delinquent stock shall be sold to the highest bidder unless the board of directors otherwise orders against bid. This means that the board is not bound to accept the highest bid unless the contrary appears. Bakit? Kasi in a public sale, the corporation is not making the offer because it is the bidder. Sa'yo nagbibid, sa'yo nagbibigay ng offer. Is the one making the offer to purchase to purchase the shares of the corporation. So nag-offer lang yung bidder. So kahit na ikaw yung highest bidder, pero pag ayaw sa'yo ni corporation, Kasi inisip niya, ano to, ah, shareholder rin ito ng kalaban nating corporation. So sabi ni corporation, ng board of directors, ayaw ko. Hindi namin, we will reject your offer. So may karapatan ang board na i-deny ang highest bidder. Under Article 1326 ng Civil Code natin, it is expressly provided that advertisements for bidders are simply invitations to make proposals and nadaan niyo na to, di ba, sa obligations and contracts na sa bidding, yung sa offer, di ba? Sa obligation contracts, sa offer, pag nag-offer does not necessarily mean na ina-accept mo na. Or you're not compelled to accept. Kasi offer pa lang yan eh. Yun, naalala ko na. Di ba yung sa mga, yung sa mga advertisement ng mga products, di ba? Pag nagbigay ka ng offer, that does not necessarily mean na i-accept yan agad, na binding yan, kasi may karapatan yan sila to reject. Accept or reject. Ito, purchase of delinquent stock, nasabi natin to. Pag walang bidder, then si corporation yung bibili, it will be considered as treasury shares. Okay, section 68 tayo, which talks about when sale may be questioned. Sale of stocks to. No action to recover delinquent stock sold can be sustained upon the ground of irregularity or defect in the notice of sale, or in the sale itself or in the delinquent stock, unless the party seeking to maintain such action first pays or tenders to the party holding the stock the sum for which the same was sold with interest from the date of sale at the legal rate. No such action shall be maintained unless a complaint is filed within 6 months from the date of sale. Anong meaning yan, sir? So basically dito, may tao, a certain person, kina-question niya yung validity ng sale ng delinquent sale or ng delinquent stock, yung sale nito. Like for example, isa rin siyang bidder sa sa public auction kung saan binibenta yung delinquent stock. Tapos natalo siya. Tapos napansin niya na baka may irregularity sa sale na nangyari. So with that, pwede niya yung i-question. However, hindi niya pwede yung i-question unless the party seeking to maintain such action first pays or tenders to the party holding the stock the sum for which the same was sold with interest from the date of sale at the legal rate. So kailangan bayaran niya muna yung bidder nanalo na may hawak ng stocks bago siya pwedeng mag-file ng action to recover the delinquent stock sold. Yan. Pero, after 6 months ng sale, hindi niya na pwedeng i-file yan. Dapat within 6 months. So ito, the grounds for recovery of stock unlawfully sold or delinquent is there is an irregularity or defect in the notice of sale. Diba? Sabi ko kanina, yung notice ng sale together with its publication, kapag yung procedural matters na yon was not properly followed, magiging void yung action. Oo, invalid. Mahalaga ang notice and publication. Kahit sa ibang ng batas natin, maraming mga kaso in regards to that na yung notice and yung publication was not properly followed, so naging invalid yung action. Kahit sa natin, sa batas natin ito sa bansa, kapag yung law natin was not published, hindi na walang publication, yung batas na yun hindi magiging valid. So napakahalaga ng notice of sale, ng notice and ng publication. So in this case, in this concept, pag wala yan, then there's irregularity. Pwedeng questionin. Another is the irregularity or defect in the sale itself of the delinquent stock. Like for example, hindi full amount yung nabayaran, kulang pa. Tapos inisyo pa rin yung nabenta pa rin yung pinayagan pa rin mabenta yung delinquent stock kahit na hindi full amount yung mababayaran. So yun, defect yun or irregularity sa sale yun. Now, irregularity or defect in the call for unpaid subscription or in the notice of the delinquency is no longer included amongst the ground for questioning the sale. Dito, kahit na may defect sa call or sa notice of delinquency, yung pag-inform mo sa yung pag-inform sa delinquent stockholder, kahit na may defect doon, may irregularity doon, hindi siya valid ground for questioning the sale. Kita nyo dito, yung notice of sale and publication sa sale mismo, yun, it will affect, it will be a valid ground. Pero pag notice lang sa delinquency, wala. Ito, Section 69, nice. Court action to recover unpaid subscription. Ba sabi natin kanina, di ba? May tatlong ways ang corporation to the unpaid subscription. Yung extrajudicial sale through a public auction. Ito naman, judicial action. And yung cash dividends, i-apply na lang doon sa unpaid portion. Tapos yung stock dividends, i-withheld. Di ba? Yun yung mga actions or remedies na pwedeng gawin ni corporation. Dito Section 69, ito na yung judicial action. Court action to recover unpaid subscription. Nothing in this code shall prevent the corporation from collecting through court action the amount due on any unpaid subscription with accrued interest, cost, and expense. Ito yung judicial remedy. As a general rule, a corporation may not maintain a suit for the enforcement of unpaid subscription without first making a call as provided by law. So yun. So ito yung mga instances na instead na i-public auction yung delinquent stocks, yung delinquent subscription, na instead na ibenta sa public auction, sabi ng board of directors, wag muna natin gawin yun. I-compel muna natin si delinquent stockholder na bayaran yung subscription niya. Pag ayaw ni delinquent stockholder na bayaran yung subscription niya, yung board of directors, pwede po sila pumunta sa korte. Para yung korte will compel the delinquent subscriber na or delinquent stockholder na bayaran yung unpaid subscription niya. So yun, judicial remedy yun. Isipin ng or magdi-decide yung board of directors na instead na mag-public auction sila, i-compel na lang nila through the court si delinquent stockholder na bayaran yung kanyang unpaid subscription. Ito, effect of delinquency. Basahin nyo lang, na-mention natin to. Ito yung no delinquent stock shall be voted or be entitled to vote or be represented at any stockholders meeting, nor shall the holder thereof be entitled to any of the rights of a stockholder except the right to dividends in accordance with the provision of this code. Yung cash dividends, apply. Stock dividends withheld until and unless payment is made by the holder of such delinquent stock for the amount due on the subscription with the whole interest and etc. etc. Right of unpaid shares, non-delinquent, holders of subscribed shares not fully paid which are not delinquent shall have all the rights ng isang stockholder. So yun, pwede sila mag-participate as long as hindi sila delinquent. Before delinquency, may right sila to participate. After delinquency, wala na, wawa sila. Ito, loss of destroyed certificate, basically procedural lang to, pag nawala yung certificate mo. Pero tandaan, as we have mentioned last time, pag nawala yung certificate of stock mo, yung stock certificate mo, does not necessarily mean na nawala na rin yung ownership mo sa corporation. Kasi evidence lang yan, ang stock certificate. So yan, procedural matters, read na lang. So yan yung Title 7 natin, stock and stockholders. So yun, yun lang. We will proceed to Title 8. So next video yun. Bye-bye. Love you.